So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're just outside of Kilmore, and we've just come here to basically do an intro into the YouTubes that you're going to hear from Frank Sedgman. And I've come here because this tower behind us marks the 100-year anniversary of Hume finding his way from New South Wales to Victoria. And being that these YouTubes are about celebrating a 100-year anniversary of the establishment of Frew Park, it seemed to be quite an appropriate place to introduce Frank Sedgman. I hope you enjoy these series of YouTubes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlie Thanker. As a very young player, the first legend of Australian tennis my parents told me about was Frank Sedgman. As a friend of the family, I was so lucky to meet Frank over the years many different times, and what a wonderful man he was, as well as a great champion. And it's an absolute pleasure and real honour for me to be introducing Frank Sedgman on the YouTube channel here.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Racer here from Frew Park YouTube channel. We're here this morning with Frank Sedgman, and the first thing we're going to hear about this morning is about the win in 1952 of the Queensland Open. Frank, you can tell us about that.
Well, I played originally at Frew Park, Milton, before then, and I think I won it twice. I'm not quite sure, but I played Ken Rosemont. He was a junior.
Yep.
And this year that I won it, he's only 16 years of age, and I was a Wimbledon champion. He gave me a pretty tough battle, and I beat him in 5 sets, but you could tell that he was going to be a champion. In the final, I think I played Art Larson, who was an American, and we played in a real strong wind, and he got a bit upset by the wind, and I was able to beat him in about 4 sets, I think.
And in that year, you didn't win the Australian Open, did you? The 1952?
No, I lost it in the final.
You would have had a grand slam if you had won that.
Oh, not quite. I lost in the in the final of the Australian.
Yes, but you won the other three.
Yeah. I lost in the final of the French as well.
Did you? Ah, my research is astray.
Yeah, but I can remember a lot of. I coached a junior squad at Milton.
Did you?
Yes, for about 3 or 4 years. I took over from Harry Hopman, who had a coaching there with the Courier Mail.
Yep.
And I took over the Courier Mail coaching. Used to go up every year and coach all the young Queensland juniors. And we ran across some very good players. And one of them was Roy Emerson, one was Laver, I think. I think Laver was in the group for a while. And anyway, and Ken Fletcher was one of the people that I coached up there, yeah, in that junior squad. And there were quite a lot of good young talent coming out of Queensland in those days.
And do you have a feel of why that was the reason?
Well, everybody played tennis in those days, and in Queensland, a lot of the people that lived in the country had their own tennis court, and they were very keen on tennis. It used to be the social part of the environment that they came. They used to have tennis tournaments in the country, and they used to have social days at weekends and all that sort of stuff. And I was with the Spalding Company, and I was up there quite a lot with going around to the country towns, and playing some exhibitions. But it was funny that Milton had a great deal of history behind it, because they didn't try to improve it much at all. They had old dressing sheds, and Adrian Quist went in there one time. He said, "Oh, I bought my own nail and hammer because there wasn't anything to hang my clothes on."
Yeah, so there is that.
I think you probably heard that story.
I have. Lots of people have actually brought a nail and hammer to Northern Apparel.
And another story was that I was a professional when I was up there doing TV for the commentary.
So this was after 53?
This was after 53, yes. And one of the things that there was a referee called Edgar Stumbles, that was running the tournament. And for some reason, the groundsman made a mistake in the size of the tennis court, and he marked the lines about one end of the service court. One end was all right, but the other end, the service court, was out of size. There was about a metre difference.
Bigger or smaller?
Bigger. And the players, Mervyn Rose was one of the players, and he said, oh, you could tell that he was winning his serve very easily from one end, because anyway, they held up play and they went and measured the court. They stepped it out, and they found out that the court was out by about a couple of feet in the service box.
Yep.
He was holding his service very easily. Anyway, I went down to measure it myself, and I got kicked out of the centre court because they realised they'd made a mistake and they didn't want a lot of publicity about it. So Edgar Stumbles, you know, he got very much criticised for that. But he was a referee, and anyway, that became a big talking point.
That is a great story. And what we might do is just finish this part of the YouTube off. Nathan, if you can.
You may be interested in the background is a portrait painted of my husband, Don Cameron, former MP of several seats. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Frew Park YouTube. And I know that there'll be many more interesting things coming out of all of this, and I'm very proud to be a part of it all. Thank you.